Fo and to quite change be akuso ewo parliament enye asem ketwa ni sem ni na ne se na esi ato force in case na kwakoye no anytime bia we court bia no it affects the decision of the house and I say it affects the activities of parliament. So my madren say every time we have parliamentary meetings I involve a minority leader Dr. Keso ato force na be ni late senior asem no betumi akojo but see asem esi and say Dr. Keso ato force eba ye meeting as late start around 3 p.m. Enwumremu honum 3 p.m. ewiem honum and our meeting start here. Let's start here no na as usual Dr. Keso ato force eba late na here NDC minority MPs ni bi it is as some raise a voice of Kurum against what was going on in parliament. Then gonna for ban na share entokwa yes sembe ne tisa ensemu twumubra madam ase
court late only to enter the chamber at the end of the proceedings, raising issues of quorum. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kwekwa Asante has a wrap of proceedings from the House.
The trial of Dr. Keso Ato-Forson for causing financial loss to the state is happening in the courts, but having a cascading effect on the business of the House. You will recall last week when the House resumed, the minority did indicate that whenever their leader was in court for his trial, they will boycott proceedings. In fact, today they did. And today, sitting started nearly 3 p.m. because the minority MPs were not coming to the floor and the majority MPs also were not in their numbers. In fact, when sitting started, the MPs on the floor were not even up to 20. Later on, when the trial ended and the minority leader did walk into the floor, the NDC MPs started raising issues of quorum.
There is still no quorum. Suspend sitting of the House for a period of not more than 1 hour. Mr. Speaker, can you direct the clerk and table to conduct a head count?
They were recognized. No, we must correct that.
Honorable Chief Whip.
You were recognized. When you walked in, you were recognized. When you walked in and you got up to speak, you were recognized. Let that go on the records. What is that?
The second Deputy Speaker, Andrew Amakwesiama, was now under pressure to act according to the dictates of the standing orders. The standing orders provide that whenever an MP raises an issue of quorum, he should instruct the table office to get the bells to be rung in the House. The bell did ring, and after 10 minutes, James Klucha-Veji was on his feet again, pressuring the Speaker of Parliament to actually go by the dictates of the House and suspend Parliament. This nearly degenerated into chaos because, according to the Deputy Speaker, as per his time, the 10 minutes provided by the standing orders had not reached, but it's not something the NDC MPs were ready to countenance.
I don't know the time you are using. My time is not up yet. I'm monitoring my time.
Mr. Speaker,
my time is not up to 10 minutes.
That the bell was rung. When the bell was rung, we all heard it. If you are telling this House or me that you are using your time,
Honorable Veji, I'm left with 2 minutes.
Standing order regulate the conduct of the House. If our own standing order says it, why? No.
Clerk at table.
Mr. Speaker.
Clerk at table.
Mr. Speaker, we are not asking you now.
Clerk at table.
Mr. Speaker, we are not asking you
please
to go.
Count the members.
No. Ultimately, the MPs on the floor were not up to 92, which would allow for MPs to proceed the business, and then proceeded to suspend sitting for an hour. It is clear that the minority are not willing to back down on their demand that the trial of the minority leader should cease. According to James Klucha-Veji, an MP for Kintamponov, they are not trying to frustrate government business, but they are only asking for the right thing to be done.
We are here, we are ready to work. Is Honorable Ato-Forson, who is the leader of the minority, also not qualified to represent his people? So if he's there every day in court, are they not concerned that by that act, he's also not representing his people? If they want us to do the work, and which they attempt frustration, then they should allow Honorable Ato-Forson to also represent his people. They should drop the case.
It is just right that as a leader of the minority, we also show some sympathy and solidarity with him. Or if even it's midnight, we'll now be transacting government business. Why not? We'll do. But in any case, it should be on record that now it's even the minority who are always more in the house. You are in the house here, you have been seeing it. Let your cameras always report it. It's we the minority who are always more even in the house.
In the coming days, more and more government business, key bills, among others, are expected to come to the floor. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, when the minority leader is away in court, being prosecuted for causing financial loss to the state, the House will suffer. It is not clear how long the minority intend to hold this, but they say that they are not going to relent in making this demand that the prosecution of their minority leader is dropped.
Let's get more on this. Joining us now via Zoom is Rashid Rahman. He's Executive Director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Thank you for your time here on Newsdesk, Sir Rashid.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Now, we also have the member of the majority in Parliament. He's also chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, NDC Kubi. Thank you for your time here on Newsdesk.
No, thank you very much also. And I'm very happy that you joined me. And I wish you congratulations for today's discussions.
Thank you so much. I'll start with you, NDC Kubi, because you are in Parliament and you've seen how the proceedings have fared so far with the absence of the minority. What's the general thought you have right now as we start the conversation?
Thank you very much, my sister. But let me start by commenting on our behaviors in Parliament. Indeed, I watched the script as presented by David. And what strikes me immediately is our conduct, our communication, donation, the respect that we have to show for each other, particularly show for the chair. All of these are absent, and I'm very worried. Is it the case that in Ghana, if you shout on top of your voice that you are heard, or is it the case that the content is that which really matters? In fact, we should be concerned that we are also leaving a legacy for future generations to come and hear it. And therefore, whatever we do, wherever we are, we must be conscious of the environment and also the persons on whose lives we affect. I am not happy with all of us every day shouting on top of our voice, even as we are on your feet in Parliament. It is not the right thing to do. And I want your good self to communicate that to all of us that, well, shouting on top of your voice doesn't really add to the value of the content that you provide. Let's move on.
Now,
yes.
Make your point. Feel free.
It is well known that criminal action is action in persona. When you are before a criminal court, you are the person before the criminal court, not a community. And your action or your offense is not vicariously transferred to another person for which other persons must show up in court. And indeed, Parliament also has its way of doing business. And indeed, if you want to absent yourself from Parliament, there are procedures that you have to follow. And indeed, if you are going to be absent for whatever reason, I think the provisions require that you communicate that to the Speaker, who will give you leave to be absent. Is it the case that all of them have communicated to the Speaker to be absent for a day, that the trial to go on? Is it the case that somebody who you interviewed said that they must abort the trial? Is it the case that politicians are above the law? Is that what we are saying? When you are before the court on criminal charges, it does not mean that you are guilty. It is an opportunity to prove your innocence. Indeed, it is an opportunity for